Well, welcome back. Our next guest is an expert when it comes to tails, from puppy tails to kitty tails, and now she has a tail of her own.
Yes, she does. This is Dr. Amy, and she is the author of Pets in the City, True Tales of a Manhattan House Call Veterinarian. Man, no, that's not right. Veterinarian. Now, the Washington Post recently named your book one of their 5 feel-good books, and we love that. We're all about it. Welcome in. We're so glad that you are here. We adore you.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here with such pet lovers.
Yes.
Okay, so explain why you wanted to share these stories. Give us a little overview of the book.
For the past 3 decades, I've been making house calls in Manhattan. I go into people's homes. I see them in their own natural state, and sometimes I see them at some of the worst times in their lives, right? I've cared for these pets from their first days to their final days, and in that time I've really gotten to know these families very well. So I come home every day and say to my husband, "You'll never believe what happened today." There's always a funny anecdote or a sad anecdote or something special that I've witnessed that I never would have witnessed if I worked in an animal hospital. And I just sat down and wrote these stories down each day and realized I had the makings for a really interesting book.
We're seeing some of the pictures there. I know you've had some celebrity animals.
I have, again, in Manhattan, making house calls. It is very attractive for celebrities. So from the very first days when I started my practice, Joan Rivers was a client of mine, and she of course was famous for "Can we talk?" and she talked about my service to all of her friends and introduced me to some of the most amazing people.
Look at them there. I love that. Also Paul McCartney, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
Billy
Right?
Joel.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I have the world's greatest job. I'm a veterinarian. There is nothing better than making animals feel better, but the little icing on the cake for my special spin on it is I do get to meet amazing people.
But
Well, and what sets you apart too is you're not just a veterinarian, you have that empathy. So when she comes into her house, we were talking about this in the green room, how you have the ability to relay those details to the pet owner with such empathy and grace and kindness. Why is that? Why is that your approach?
So first of all, thank you very much. But when you do house calls, it's more than just giving a vaccine to a puppy. You're taking in the entire family's lifestyle and experiences, and it's much, much more personal. So I get to know more about the pets and more about their families than a regular veterinarian would. And I think once you're inserted into someone's life, I think you know more about them, and I think that makes you a better doctor. So, in my case, my patients don't really talk, or at least they don't talk in a language that we understand easily, but they communicate with their families. And if I can spend the time with those people and ask the right questions, a lot of the diagnoses are just very easy for me to make.
we touched on the celebrities that you have worked with, but also the man next door, the girl next door, and you said there's a common thread with all of them.
So you are so right. I mean, people do focus a lot on the celebrities. They are a small part of my practice. Normal people are very much a part of my practice. And we even go into the homes of people who live in housing projects. What makes them all the same is that they love their pets and they want to take the best care of their pets. And that makes my job wonderful.
You know, this shirt is wonderful. Can I just say I have a Pets in the City shirt that I am sporting right now. Thank you very much for this. Earlier we were talking about how, when do you know when the right time to put down your pet is? Because it's very hard, almost playing God and deciding when to do it. I've been there. What do you say to your clients?
I think it's the most difficult decision you make with your pet when knowing that their quality of life isn't enough for them to continue. And then it is a blessing that they don't have to suffer at the end of their lives. And people often say to me, how will I know when it's time? Unless it's some catastrophic thing that just happened where you have no choice, it's a process of watching how they're doing. And for me, a very big part of it is this pet eating any longer? Is it interacting with the family? Is it hiding all the time, or is it still being part of this family? Because sometimes we make diagnoses that are terrible on paper. The pet has bad heart disease or cancer. But that isn't what makes you decide to put them to sleep, because you can live with those diseases. It's when the quality of life isn't there any longer. And I always tell people, you will know. So it's really a good idea to have a veterinarian that you can communicate with, because a lot of these things are subtle, and we should be able to help you. And you know, I'll say that all the time, you will know, and then the people will say to me, you were right, I know. Sometimes we wait just a tiny bit too long, that's okay, but when it's time, it's best to say goodbye. I believe in your own home, where you're surrounded with people that love you. So that's a service that we help people with in house calls.
Making us feel better about some of the hardest times. You know she's going to make you feel good with this book. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Dr.
thank
Amy.
you.
This book is for everyone. It is out with great reviews. Visit citypetsvets.com. Order your copy of Pets in the City, True Tales of a Manhattan House Call Veterinarian.